So, as I was saying, and yesterday also we were mentioning about this interesting word, and we, as customers and simple consumers, let's say, of banking products, we also always receive different kind of alerts about phishing and so on, and also the National Cybersecurity incident response team is very active, and they announce when different attacks are happening in the local banking system. I would ask you, Alin, about how often do these scams occur, and should we be concerned about an upward trend? I mean, is it an upward trend, or is just a common, let's say, specificity of the business of doing banking services?
Well, first of all, I would like to... Yeah. First of all, I would like to ask the participants if they were a victim of a fraud or they know somebody that was a fraud. Yeah? We have a hand there? Okay, perfect. So surprisingly, I'm happy to see all these messages coming. Why? Because this is the first step that we need to do in order to actually fight against this new fraud model. What does it mean, fraud model? For the past years, we have experienced a new way of working by the fraudsters. That is fraud as a business. So basically you have somebody that is designing the tool that would actually trick the persons, and then it would just put it out on the dark web and sell it to several people that are interested. And this way we see a lot of attacks coming from multiple actors. So if I may add also on this one, I think we need to look on why is this happening right now, and the answer is this new fraud model and how it is done. This is also very important. And I'll just leave Matthew to add on this one.
Okay, please, Matthew.
Yeah, well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me again. It's really a pleasure being here. So yeah, in terms of timing and what is happening, there's just several factors influencing it. As Alin said, there is fraud as a service, as a business. And yesterday there was a message of, AI is used in many ways, but not necessarily for the bad actors. It's not quite true. Similar to ChatGPT, there's a warm GPT.
A worm?
A warm GPT. There's a fraud GPT.
Okay.
Everything is something. As a service. So for a threat actor, for someone who has malicious intent, it's just really easy now to do these things. And of course, there is a desire to make money quickly. And if you have the accessible tools now available, even without having a deep technological understanding, you can do these things now. And this is the really threatening thing on the one side. There's also another side, and as I talked about yesterday, the scamdemic, so scams going on. Of course, banks, fintechs, us supporting those, our customers, they are improving their security posture all the time. So it is, they go with the technology, they go with the demand of the fraudsters as well as the attackers and with their customer requirements. So every time we add a new layer of defense, the fraudsters find a way to work around it. And now this is shifting a little bit in a different direction.
Okay. Also, I wanted to ask you about biometrics, because I think it was a significant innovation, at least in Romania when it first appeared, biometrics, the bank says that it's so secure and you can be, I don't know, you can be subject of fraud because you have two-factor authentication, you have your fingerprint and so on. So how biometrics have changed the industry and maybe reduced the number of frauds?
Yeah, so it is a game-changing technology. It's cutting-edge technology as well, and it wouldn't be possible without the developments in machine learning and AI and, generally speaking, computing power. big thing really about behavioral biometrics for me personally is a lot that has been said on the panel before. It's about user experience, customer centricity. The successful super app or the successful online banking service, people use it, children, adults use it because it's easy. And the same principle applies to behavioral biometrics. It enhances security, it strengthens the security posture without adding additional friction. It's something that happens silently in the background. If we at LexisNexis Risk Solutions talk about behavioral biometrics, what we mean is really the interactions of an end user with a device, with a service. The way you hold your smartphone, the way you swipe, you touch the display, your keystroke dynamics, how long you press a specific button, and when you release it, how does that look like from a technical point of view, the dwell time. The way you move your mouse, if as you naturally move your mouse in a quite smooth way, a machine doesn't do that necessarily. But there's a lot of signals we can take, and these signals are being taken, frictionless, without any additional step, seamless for the end user, and it enhances the posture, the information a bank, a fintech can get to make it more convenient and simple for the consumer. Okay, interesting stuff. We'll go to Alin now because as any bank in Romania, you send different messages to clients when different phishing attempts are happening, and it's quite normal. But I was curious about the most effective ways you communicate to clients and how to prevent and educate the clients about these types of attacks. Because the phishing, as we heard yesterday, it's the most common one.
Well, I think we need to look at the relationship between customer and the banks, and it needs to be a real partnership. So on one hand, you have the bank that is responsible to do awareness for the customer, that needs to design robust products in order to keep the customer safe, to develop functionalities in order to help the customer take the right decision. Just to give a couple of examples. We have launched recently, also for the business banking customers, a solution. It's called Show Beneficiary Name. When you make a transfer from one bank to another, you actually see the name of the beneficiary, of the account holder, so you won't get tricked into actually sending money to the wrong account. So this is something that is under that umbrella. Then you have also, I would say, monitoring systems that helps you in order to identify suspicious activities. You have also partnerships with other industries. So for example, you need a high-tech solution in order to actually help the customer be safe online. So if you make a partnership with the cyber company, then definitely that would really help for the customer to be safe online. They can install on their devices, and this way they have the opportunity to be safe online. And last but not least, you have also the part with the, I would say, connection with law enforcement that doesn't have to be neglected. And what does that mean? We have launched recently also a partnership with the prosecutor office. It's called DCOT, that investigates organized crime, that we send information electronically. That helps to speed up the process for their investigation. So this way we help the community to actually be safer because the authority are doing a much better and faster job, I would say. So this is mainly, I would say, on the bank side. But you also have the customer. So as again, you need to create this partnership with both responsibilities. So the customer also needs to be responsible for his credential, user and password, card data, the card number, CVV2, the date of expiry, and so on. And this way, it's something that is protecting himself from being a victim of any sorts of crime.
Okay, and about the fraud, the type of frauds that involve clients' cards. From time to time, we see different organized groups of organized crime that are stealing clients' data from the cards and they are cloning the cards. How frequent are these, at least in Romania?
Well, let's put it like this. I would say mainly I see as top three typologies. One is what we see right now is the investment scam. So the investment scam is One day you are just browsing on the social media and you see there a sponsored ad on social media saying, would you like to double your money? And right now. And what happens next? You just click on it, you go on the link, you enter your contact details, and after that, a couple hours later, you get called by an individual and gives you two options. He's presenting himself as a consultant or broker, financial broker, and so on. And he says, you have two options. Look, this is what you can make. This is your yield from investing that amount of money. So you have two options. Either you can transfer the money there, or if not, we'll give you the option of giving us access to your device, so through a remote access tool, and we can actually do all this for you. You don't have to be that technical. When you actually give access to your device, the person would just actually log in into your banking application, would have access to your codes, your SMSs that are being sent by the bank, may even actually make some loans on your behalf because he has full access to your device. Yeah. So basically, this is the first one that I see. Second is the phishing. So phishing comes through all sorts of, let's say, forms, from so-called law enforcement. If you don't actually input your data immediately, you'll get arrested or fined or whatever needs to be done in order to scare you, in order to provide the data. Yeah. And three, I would say, is the marketplace fraud, where you want to sell a product. So for example, I would like to sell my old phone. I will just put it on a dedicated website, and from that point on, my expectation is to be contacted by the, I don't know, potential buyer and provide details and so on. Immediately you are contacted via WhatsApp or any other system, says, look, I'm very much interested into actually buying your product. Just enter on this link, enter your card data because I want to send you the money right now. Enter your card data, and after that, I will just put it in the money. So usually the victims forget that you don't ever give your card details in order to cash in. Yeah, you never get the money. You always use your IBAN account. So you provide your IBAN account, and then you receive the money. So the card is mainly for paying a transaction.
Okay, thanks a lot. Mathias, from your statistics, let's say, what is the level of fraud in Romania? Maybe in Europe, if you don't have data for Romania, but in Europe, how frequent are these fraud and types of attacks, and what vulnerabilities have you observed in the financial institutions?
So yeah, I shared a few numbers yesterday already in my presentation, but just to warm them up again. Mm-hmm. So we have several customers either operating out of Romania or serving consumers in Romania. So we see a lot of transactions going through and coming from Romania. And just for the last quarter, it was just shy of just above 16 million transactions we were looking. This means customers logging into applications, making payments, signing up for services. But again, the number one scenario we did see was scams, or they have sometimes different names. It's coaching, it's spoofing, it's the romance scam is one particular one, or the investment scam. And then, of course, where does the money go? And we did analyze, apart from the amount of transactions or the total transactions, with one particular customer in Romania, we did analyze over a period of 2 months last year, just what was going on in detail. This was just an exercise to get a little bit more into detail there. And we were able to prevent, in those 2 months, more than $11 million in fraud. And again, the number one was scams. Mm-hmm. So it was romance investment frauds, and this was $2.5 million. And now the really interesting bit about it is, there's a lot of transactions, there's a lot of interactions with consumers, and of course most of them are good. They're legitimate businesses or business transactions. And in particular, the scam transactions we are looking at, out of 5 million transactions, roughly 200 were scams. Just 200. And the number is rising. But this is just a number. But the value that is the impressive thing. It was 2.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
The second biggest fraud modus operandi was chargeback fraud with that customer in particular. And we had roughly 2,000 events, so roughly 10 times the event. And the value was 2.1 million. So out of that 11 million, those two were the biggest ones.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, with 200 scams, you can make more money than with 2,000 chargeback or card frauds, basically. So that there's, that this is just really crazy if you think about it. So it's a lot. Of course, it is a lot of effort going there. You have to call them up, coach them through, maybe even spoof your number, pretend you're someone, you know what you're talking about, all of that. It's not easy, but it's still quite, the return on invest for them is quite impressive.
Okay, thanks. Alin, now I wanted to go through an innovation I've seen in the market, at least at the international level. I've seen, 3-4 years ago, and it's quite interesting because we have it in the digital banking scorecard that we are doing annually, and we call it geolocation security for card transactions. So it's also a new innovation in ING Bank, and I wanted to know how to define it and to explain more about it, and how this innovation helps customers to have secure funds and to not be scammed.
Well, I can start with a short personal story. One of my acquaintances, just say Mircea, he was actually planning for a vacation, extended vacation to South America, and he was actually saving the money for it. So on a monthly basis, he was just depositing an amount of money in order to get the necessary funds, and this way he can actually have the necessary budget to go to the vacation. But one day he actually received an email, so it's quite recent to the moment that he was supposed to leave. Was saying an email that was impersonating a bank, saying, please enter immediately your contact details, your card number and user and password, because we found a glitch on your account, and this way we are not going to block your account. And considering that he was quite scared, I'm going to leave in a couple of days, I don't want to have any problems with my card, with my details. He just forgot all the, let's say, awareness messages. He went in, full package, so he gave his card details, his credential, everything. And definitely, considering he had also functionality attached to his account to be informed on the transaction, so you get like a push notification and SMS, he saw a couple of hours later that he was just pumping up a lot of messages with transaction from South America, so coincidence on this one. It was just saying, I'm not there, but somebody's doing transaction on my behalf, So coming from that experience, two things I would say it's necessary to learn. One, never give your credential via online, to anybody that is asking. Never log in into an app, no matter it's a banking app or whatever app that is done through email or message or WhatsApp or whatever link there. So you get a link from an email message. Never do that. And always pay attention to the messages that are sent from the bank. So basically that would be it. But coming back to how geolocation works, I would say that in this case, you could actually see that Mircea was actually in Bucharest, doing transactions, while his card was over there. So if you get this kind of, I would say, disconnection, it will be a red flag in order to take the necessary action. So this functionality that we are going to launch, hopefully is planned to be launched by the end of the year, if everything is okay, would actually help the customer be more safe. So that would help them generate that consistency that you know all the time where is your device, where you log in, where you're making your transaction, and so on. So we'll be just asking for your GPS location just on the moment that you actually authenticate into your banking app, and based on that, you can actually identify if there is any red flag or not. So that would be the core essence of the functionality.
Yeah, it's some really important messaging there. Something I want to add, what we are seeing as well is very similar, but in particular when we look at location data, this cannot only be used to prevent fraud or malicious activity, it can also be used to, again, enhance the user experience. So what we, for example, do with our customers, part of our solution is, let's just keep it simple, rule-based. So we can tell if we've seen someone just before we see a new transaction at an airport, and a couple of hours later, we see them in a different country than they usually are, this is not a bad sign. So instead of them having to go through the call center or go into the app and unblock the card for a specific region or country, this can be automated, by using those signals. Yeah. So location has again, everything for us really is two-folded. We look at the benefits, the challenge, and the challenges. And this is just a good example, preventing fraud, yes, or actually just making it even easier to travel, go abroad for work or for pleasure, for personal interest. It's just, you just reminded me of that, and I had to get this out.
Yeah. Okay, in order to wrap up the debate and the discussion, I would try to get some conclusions here, and I would ask both of you about maybe some security measures that we as customers could easily implement to ensure that all our transactions are safe, the card details are safe, and so on. So just, I don't know, top 3 security measures that we can easily implement in our lives.
Well, the most important one, I would say, is never log in into your banking app through a link that is received via email, SMS, or whatever, because definitely no bank would ever ask this kind of operation. Second, most of the banks use multiple factor authentication. So usually when you have a device, maybe a new device, you also get an SMS, with the code. So be careful to read out the message from there, because this is customized to the operation that you're making. So for example, you get, for the part of the authentication, you will get a dedicated message that is saying, we found out that you are authenticating from a new device. This is the code. If it's not you, do not forward, do not enter, and so on. Please contact us. So that is the message. Look on the message, look on the text, and never forward the code to anybody else. Third, always use, I would say, an antivirus solution. So security solution is your, let's say, best help when you have a lot of messages received, no matter it's SMS, email, WhatsApp. They have the, let's say, the power to identify when a link is sent or a malicious message is sent. So this helps you a lot, so you don't have to be an expert on this one. And just to add the cherry on the cake, never give access to anybody else for any sorts of reason to your device. So just remember that your device is your, let's say, entrance keys to your house, to your car, and as long as we never actually give somebody else our keys, do not give access to your device to anybody else. Thank you.
Thanks. Mathias?
So I actually want to address both sides.
Okay.
Both sides, so the businesses, the banks, and the consumers. So number one, as a bank, you need to stay vigilant. You need to invest in infrastructure security and solutions that protect your infrastructure as well as the consumers. This is really important. And opposite to what was said earlier about sharing data, I think fraud prevention in the banking industry is a topic where you need to share intelligence. As LexisNexis, we provide a shared intelligence network, so our customers benefit from anything that has been going on in another bank, actually in a completely different industry. So shared intelligence is really important. So this information about someone has been defrauded serves both sides. The banking, all the banks. If it happened somewhere else, you don't want to be the next in line. And this helps the consumers as well. And as a consumer, those advices are really, really important. We all think about digital, but it also extends on other channels, phone channels. I said about phones, phone numbers can be spoofed. So it's not just don't click on an email. If you receive a call from your bank and you didn't expect it, even if you expected it, hang up, call them back. It's simple things, and we need to be reminded. And social engineering is a huge challenge. They are putting you under pressure. If you go on YouTube, there's loads of examples. You know, they play baby noises, crying in the background, and things. They put you under pressure. So, like he said, his experience, you let down your guard, and you just become, remote controlled. So you do whatever they tell you to do. Just take a deep breath, hang up, call them back. I just wanted to extend to think about the other channels, even post, even mail. Be careful with it. Just whenever there's something, you initiate the communication, it's always the safer option.
If I just add one thing to Matthew's comments. I think it matters more the objective of that call. What is the objective of the call? Is to actually get financial information. Usually the banks already have it. So why would they ask me for the card number or the CVV2 or user banking and so on? So always keep that in mind. That's a red flag. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Very good advice, and hope that we will implement them in our lives. Thank you guys for being here. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time for questions, but I encourage you to ask Mathias and Alin questions during lunch and in the breaks. So they will be here to take any questions from for security, fraud, insecurity and fraud matters. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.